in the growth of the community. No? But under gun functionalism, there are 4 factors when it comes to how it would really function as an internal and external part of education. So hindi lang naman tayo nagtatayo ng eskwelahan at hindi lang tayo pumapasok sa isang eskwelahan ng dahil ito ay ginusto lang natin or somehow it is just given by the government just to have a certain idea that this was their project. There's a background idea of what real the functions of education is. Okay? And what would be the real functions of education? The functions of education would focus into 4 parts. The initial one is the red and highlighted one, which is socialization. Functional theory stresses the functions that education serves in fulfilling society's various needs. Function, ano nga ba ang kanyang kayang gawin, para saan nga ba siya? No? That's why there are different functions when it comes to the government. There's a different functions in terms of a certain body. There's also a different function in terms of a group. Kahit nga basic groupings nyo, may different function tayo. Meron tayong taga-report, meron tayong taga-encode, meron tayong taga-evaluate, meron tayong taga-sulat. No? Even in the lowest form of education, not the lowest form, in the basic idea of education, basic ed, meron pa rin tayong form ng, meron pa rin tayong idea ng functions. Okay? There would be a leader of the group, there would be assistant leaders, and basically there would be members. These are basically an idea in fulfilling the society's needs and basically fulfilling the group or the circle of what various needs na kailangan. Example is barangay. Para saan nga ba ang mga barangay natin? If I'm not mistaken, the barangay election is postponed, no, by Mr. Marcos, our president. It was postponed because of what? Because the idea of budget caps, no? And I think it is a good way for us to. There are 2 things, no? 2 things in terms of my own opinion, in terms of why they should. The idea of what would be the pros and cons of postponing the Sangguniang Kabataan and basically the barangay election. The pros is, the idea there is that it would not cut a certain bigger budget kasi malaking budget and ayan ay election. Also, it would not intend, no? It would give more idea of the function of the government as it starts sa bagong administrasyon. But what would be the cons for this? The cons is that we have barangay captains who are actually have a longer, no, they have a longer years of service rather to the executive office. Executive office natin 6 years lang. Ang barangay leaders natin umabot na sila ng going to 7 years, 8 years. Okay? Remember that too much of familiarization, too much of comfortability is a horrific idea. Tanda na, too much of comfortability, too much of familiarization, it's a horrific idea. Why? Sir, it's an idea of horror because people nowadays would try to intend to be within their comfort zone and there would be no growth at all. Sorry na distract ako. Mary Ann, is that your dog? What kind of dog is that? Sa likod. Na-distract lang ako. No? I have a...
It's a Labrador po.
Oh, I see. Meron kasi akong Beagle and meron akong Beagle at German Shepherd. Sila ang patunay na nakakasira ang aso ng sofa. Okay? Sige. Ang aso ay binili para magbantay ng bahay, ngunit sila ang aking binabantayan sa mga panahon nito. Okay, I've skipped into that part now, I'm sorry. Now, that's what would be the pros and cons. Basically, pagdating din sa function of education, tama din yun. Hindi nyo ba napapansin ang mga different elementary schools, high schools, public high school, nag-change din sila ng leadership? Kasi it's a must, no? Change of leadership is a good idea. Change of leadership is an idea of development. You are a leader for you to build up another leader. You are not a leader just because you want to be at home as a leader. Nakapag-almusal ko na, trip mo pang magtanghalian hanggang hapunan, ibigay mo naman yan sa iba. The benefit of what you can do could be shared to other people, as well to the functions of education. Principles. Bakit sila kailangang ikutan? Again, comfortability. Again, familiarization. The more that you're familiar already with, sir, hindi ba pangit ba yung familiar ka sa lugar? Hindi naman siya pangit, pero the idea there is it goes to your comfort that you know the way in and out already. There's no growth. You know where growth starts? Growth starts when you fear that thing. Growth starts when you're anxious to do that thing. Growth starts when basically the things that you want to accomplish is hard as it can be. Ako may tanong ha. Naranasan niyo na ba sa buhay niyo na yung tipong akala mo hindi mo kayang gawin pero nagawa mo naman pala? At the end, you evaluated yourself. Ay, kaya ko pala. Kaya ko palang gawin yun. Kaya ko palang i-manifest. Iba ang manifestation lang sa ginagawa, ah. Maraming ganyan eh. Manifest ko magkakapera ako. Manifest ko makukuha ko to. Ay, Diyos ko, kung tulog ka lang buong maghapon, ang makukuha mo muta. Tulad ng isang estudyante, nagtanong sa akin, Sir, pwede pa bang lakihan yung grade ko? Sige, iho, okay lang naman. Zoom mo lang, lakihan. Magulat ka, nakalagay 2.25. Di ba? Laki. Zoom mo. The idea there is that when you fear something, so what you're telling that we should establish fear? No, we should establish challenges. Kasi fear is something that's a bigger and it's another story. But what we should establish are challenges. Right? Pag hindi ka na-challenge, parang, alam mo yun? Yun ang function ng education. The first one is socialization. The important function of education is to socialize. The children needs to have to learn the norms, values, and skills that they need to function in the society. Nag-start ang bata sa maliit na gesture ng pagtapon ng candy sa basurahan. Nakita niya sa nanay niya, sa tatay niya, sa kuya niya, sa ate niya, na yung candy pinitik lang para itapon at sinabi, ya mo na yan. Mawawalan pa ng trabaho yung mga MMDA pag walang naglinis. Mawawalan pa ng trabaho yung mga street sweeper pag hindi natin nagtapon. What kind of reasoning would you give a child like that? Tapos ito nangyari. Nakita yun ng bata pagdating sa daan sa pamilya. Tapos pag tinuro mo sa teacher, ano sabi ng teacher? Bawal magtapon ng basura sa labas. Kailangan ilagay sa tamang basura. Ngayon, incongruent. Yung bata nagkakaroon ng confusion. Sir, so dapat tinatama yun? Yes. Ayan ang tinatawag na natin na teacher-parent relationship. Kasi kung kayo na parent ay hindi nagtutugma sa pagpapalaki ng bata, ang bata may confusion. Ano sabi sa eskwelahan? Bawal magsinungaling. Integrity and honesty is best at all times. Pag uwi sa bahay, may dumating yung nanay mo na inutangan ng nanay mo, nandiyan ang nanay mo, sabihin mo naliligo ako. Sabihin mo nasira ako. Would that child have a confusion? Yes. Diba? Kayo, kumakain na lang kayo ng fishball, kumakain na lang kayo ng kwek-kwek, ang 10 piso, 4 na piraso, dinagdagan mo pa ng isa. Tapos ang binayad mo, 10 lang. Basic yan ha. Ito maliliit na gesture na dapat alam ng bata. Lahat ng bagay nagsisimula sa maliit. Have you watched Jeffrey Dahmer in Netflix? The one who killed 17 homosexuals?
Yes po.
Diba? It started with little things that was incongruent to the school and to the respective home. That is a psychosis, no? Psychosis ang tawag natin doon na meron ng psychological disturbance. Okay? Schools teach 3 R's. Reading, writing, arithmetic. Again, reading, writing, arithmetic. Tatlong bagay na tinuturo sa eskwelahan. Basic and understanding of primary vehicles in the society and education. Ano ang a, ba, ka, da? Anong pinagkaiba ng vowels pagdating sa consonants? Anong pinagkaiba ng past tense sa future tense? Basics. Okay? Reading. Reading is not just about reading, it's also about comprehension. Diba? Bakit ang mga eskwelahan ang daming nakalagay na writing, di ba? Bawal magtapon dito, step off the grass, do not litter, bawal. Maraming bawal, pero patuloy natin ginagawa. Sa Pasay kaya, kitang-kita lahat ng bawal kasi color pink. Tapos ang letra puti. Punta kayo sa EDSA, may malaking nakalagay doon, bawal tumawid, may namatay na. Tignan mo yung dati nakamamatay, ngayon may namatay na. Pero, nabasa mo yon, pero iba, hindi pa rin, wala pa rin comprehension. Writing, arithmetic, the idea of adding things. Okay? Kung si Pedro ay may 2 mansanas, at kung may 6 na mansanas, si teacher, at may 3 bata, na si Pedro, Juan, at Pedring. Si Juan kumuha ng 3. Si Pedro kumuha ng 3 din. Si Pedring walang natira. Okay? Ilang mansanas meron ang 2 estudyante? At ilan ang napunta kay Pedring? So sabi ng bata, 6. Isa naman sumagot, yung 2 po ay, buraot. The basic idea of arithmetic is an understanding not only for you to know the numbers, but basically to understand what is the specific idea of cutting or giving equalization to other people. Nakakain ka na sa binyag ng Shanghai, nag-uwi ka pa. May darating pa hanggang alas 6 ng gabi. Totoo to ha, gesture yan sa bata. Kung anong hain siyang kainin. Basic gesture to children. That's a responsibility. Ngayon ba, mga bata, pag pumupunta sa bahay, dumidiretso ng kwarto ng kaklase? That's wrong. That's basic gesture within the house. Ilan sa inyo na pag pumapasok sa bahay, nagtatanggal ng sapatos, tsinelas? That's basic, everyone. BEd, lalo na sa inyo. Alam niyo ba, mga BEd teacher, dapat kayo magaganda? Ay, maniwala kayo ang maganda, kayo ang pleasing sa mukha ng bata. I'm sorry with the word. It's not maganda. Pleasing. Grabe naman si sir. Parang sinasabi niya hindi. No, it's not what I mean, no? But what I did is pleasing.
Appealing, sir.
Yes. Something that the children would take the risk to check you. Okay? Because they also teach many society's norms and values. What the children would check to you, would see you, they would actually get it from you. Sabi nga, ang bata ay isang malaking video camera. They will record everything at lahat yun nakastore lang sa kanilang memory, then one of these days, it would trigger at lahat yun ay kanilang matatandaan. Saan ka sa matatandaan nila? Okay? Next. The next one is social integration. It's the second function of education. Can anyone read this? Rebato, could you read?
Sir, function of education. A second function of education is a social integration for a society to work. Functionally, people must subscribe to a common set of beliefs and values. As we saw, the development of such common views was a goal of the system of compulsory education that developed in the 19th century.
The idea for society to work functionally say people must subscribe to a common set of belief and values. Social integration is actually knowing and having adaptation to what the society tells you or what the culture itself. Maraming nagugulat sa word na po at opo kasi basically Filipino language, wala naman talagang idea ang po at opo. Pero po at opo defines what culture and tradition. It defines an idea that you respect the people that you are talking to. Okay? Pwede po bang pahingi, makikidaan po, opo. It's a basic gesture. Okay? Nag-start yan, no? Kasi ang letter P talaga, ang babaw niyan eh. Di ba? Ang babaw ng po, opo. Okay? Now, as we saw the development of each of the values within and the view of our system and view of the education, kailangan nating maintindihan that even though that it's culture and tradition, there will always be development. Pag sinabi nating development, ang po at opo, ang early tradition ng that Filipinos are very much a person who welcomes, no? Ang Pilipino kaya magaling sa welcoming committee, di ba? Alam nyo ba, ang Pilipinas ang nag-iisang airport kung saan may mga nakalagay na malalaking tarpaulin at welcome home. Sa ibang bansa, ang gumagawa nun, alam nyo ba kung ano? Taxi drivers. Lahat ng sumusundo lamang, going to their respective hotel. But only Filipinos do that because of what? That's because of hospitality. Diba? Isipin nyo yung tao na talagang pagdating sa bahay nyo, winelcome nyo. Nagluto kayo, pinaghandaan ng nanay nyo, nilabas yung mga basong nung kasal pa ng nanay mo, na ginagamit lang pag may piyesta, Pasko, bagong taon, Diyos ko, kaya pag nilagyan mo na mainit, narupok yung baso, basag. You know, the brain is like a glass. The more you use it, the more it becomes better. Okay? That's how it develops. Social integration. Knowing the society, knowing the people around you. Okay? Kaya mga bata, di ba, hindi niyo pansin sila taga-welcome pagdating sa eskwela. They're part of the program. Because what you're building is socialization. Okay? Not just socialization, but you're building social integration. That the students and the pupils would know and understand what the society is referring to. Okay? The third and last one, excuse me. No, it's not the last one, may fourth pa. The third one is social placement. Anyone could read social placement? De La Cruz, Roselyn?
A third function of education is social placement. Beginning in grade 6, students are identified by teachers and other school officials, either as a bright and motivated or as less bright and even educationally challenged. Depending on how they are identified, children are taught at the level that is thought to suit them best. In this way, they are presumably prepared for their later station in life, whether this process works as well. Schedule is an important issue, and we explore it further when we discuss school tracking later in this chapter.
The idea of social placement is knowing where the students that you would put with. Ito yung tinanggal na sa ating educational system for a long time. Ito yung idea ng kung sino ang cream of the crop, sila ang nasa una. At ang mga batang kulang in terms of comprehension and development in terms of intelligence, sila yung nahuhuli. It was scrapped because of certain research that what we call environment is a bigger factor in terms of student development. Okay? Ngayon, pagkuha sa mga bata, no, it's more of that everybody would be accepted, whatever what it came from. Wherever you are or who you are. Basically, all of these things, it's the same manner. Ano nangyayari? Depending on how students are identified. Diba? Nakarinig na ba kayo na, example lang to, example, si Dima Felix. Si Dima Felix, let's say, pangatlong generation na to ng pamilya niya. Tapos ako yung teacher na matagal na sa eskwelahan. Tapos nung na-meet ko siya, ay Dima Felix, anak ko yung kuya mo, gago talaga yun eh. Ikaw rin ba ganun? It's basically an idea, no, that you are already identifying the person even though you don't know them at all. Ito yung mali, no? Pero mabuti na lang, nagde-develop at nagbabago na. Okay? Di ba meron pa tayong tinatawag na deliberation. Pag napagkaisahan ng mga advisor na inako talaga. Okay? Dinideliberate sino mga batang ganto, ganyan. But remember, there should always be a document that would tell how social placement would work to your students. Okay? How social placement would actually be defined as an idea of function of education. And remember, children are taught in different level, ha? That's why there are levels of development, grade levels of development. At tawag natin dyan growth level. Kaya mahirap, ang isa sa mga mali ngayon, sir, bawal naman talaga mabagsak ng bata, pero hindi ibig sabihin na ipapasa mo na lang para tapos na yung problema mo sa eskwelahan. Because as a matter of fact, quantitatively, that's wrong because given on the idea na ang bata hindi pumasa in quantitative measurement, dapat hindi yan iaangat. Paano yun sa ibig sabihin? Ano po? So paano yun? Ibig sabihin ko, yung bata ay hindi na natin paangatin ng next level. Pwedeng paangatin, pero certain intervention. Kaya nga tayo may mga tinatawag na remedials. Kaya tayo mga tinatawag na support materials. Pero alam niyo kung anong problema? Kulang ang educational system pagdating sa support at budget pagdating dyan. Okay? Kaya marami most of ang hindi gumagawa. Okay? O sige na, 73 ka, 75 ka na lang. Feeling ko naman okay ka eh. Feeling mo? Ang feeling, ang tawag dyan po ay qualitative, ha? Qualitative. By the way, what level are you? Sir, third year. So kayo ngayon ay nagre-research, no? Nagre-research kayo lahat?
Wala pa po, sir.
Ay, wala pa. Sige, hihintayin ko yan. What are the basics of research? You know what SMART is? You know what SMART is? SMART is the basics of research. What's letter S? Diba? Lahat ay yumuko at nagdasal at humingi ng presensya ng Diyos. Okay? We'll tackle that on the next time, no? Kasi may next...
Sir,
yes. No,
specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Yes, very good. Sige. We'll discuss and through it most of thoroughly in the next part of the teacher and culture education, no? Last but not the least, what we have right now is social and cultural innovation. The idea in which the importance of people in our society, no? Marianne, could you read?
Social and cultural innovation is a fourth function of education. Our scientists cannot mask important scientific discoveries, and our artists and thinkers cannot come up with great work of art, poetry, and prose unless they have first been educated in the many subjects they need to know for their chosen path.
Thank you, Marianne. That's why, everyone, that's why whenever what you're getting in terms of the educational system, there are people that we look up to. That's why students would have this as well. Because this is a social and cultural innovation, because the people that we look up to, we are looking up to them, not becoming them as well, but going to the path that they had so you could be better. You could develop more on what you could do. Tama? Okay? Remember that these people have been educated first so that they would come up in terms of their chosen path. The idea of which that gaano ka importante ang scientific discovery. Yan, pupunta tayo sa SMART dyan sa next topic. Okay? Again, what are the four factors and functions of education? The first one is socialization. The next one is social integration. The next one is social placement. The fourth one is social and cultural innovation. Everybody, please be mindful that in terms of the theoretical assumptions and the major assumption and theoretical perspective and the functions of education will be your reference for your upcoming midterm examination. Okay? Your upcoming midterm examination would be next week, if I'm not mistaken. No? That would be next week. I will be announcing that activity that you will be having in your Google Classroom. Okay? That would go around the different theoretical major assumptions and theoretical perspective going to the functions of education. Naintindihan? Naintindihan?
Yes,
Okay po.
sir.
Good. Do we have any more concerns, queries that you want to ask about the subject matter that we have discussed? None so far. How about the others? That's good. You will be getting the idea of your examination upcoming Monday, so you could review it already on how you would answer the different types of the functions of education. Okay, please check this one because this would be one of the reference of what you will be having. That's good.